Hey, it's me, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Hey, check out my new tag team, baby, Monty and the Pharaoh.
Hey, Jimmy, don't forget to tell them about Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast.
Well, you know what, I would, but you already did it.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
With Monty and Pharaoh.
The Monty and Pharaoh Show.
Monty and Pharaoh, bro.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Monty and the Pharaoh.
The Monty and Pharaoh Show.
And you're watching the Monty and Pharaoh Show.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
With Monty and the Pharaoh.
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 Monty and Pharaoh. Monty and the Pharaoh.
And Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, is it Monty and the Pharaoh?
Monty and Pharaoh.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
To the Monty and the Pharaoh Show.
And it's Monty and the Pharaoh, baby.
Watching Monty and the Pharaoh.
With Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, what a run.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Hey, cut music. When you want the best in professional wrestling, Long Island, there's only one place you're going to get it, right here.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Now, that's not just the coolest, and that's not just the best. That, my friends, is just incredible.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
You've got the future Hall of Famers, that rocker, Marty Jannetty, and MJ in the house, and I'm sitting here with two more future Hall of Famers, Monty and the Pharaoh. We're doing that stuff and we gonna rock it.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Duh.
Hey, look at here. Tommy Wildfire Rich is here in live, living color.
Wildfire Rich,
Somebody
baby.
say something about Fighter.
In the home of the Masters and many others. And there you see a very dejected Harley Race, former world heavyweight champion. But the man, I think Mr. Crockett has proved once again, though, that Harley Race is certainly an outstanding champion. There's certainly nothing to be taken away from that man.
Oh, that's right. He's a world-class wrestler, but I think Tommy Rich has proved that he's in the same class with Mr. Harley Race.
And so that means, obviously, Tommy, that your #1 sights are set on Harley Race once again.
Well, that's exactly right, Gordon. You know, and thing I guess it makes me the proudest of all that I did come back to Georgia, and I did win the belt right here in Georgia, and the people, you know, just like I've said, they've been behind me 100%. And all I can say is I hope I do get another chance at Harley Race, and when it's over, I'll walk out on top.
I feel very confident by the comments from Mr. Jim Crockett, the president of the NWA, that chance will come in the very, very near future. Thanks so much. What a schedule you've been under.
Thank you, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crockett.
Thank you. James Crockett, president of the NWA, and Tommy Rich, Tommy Wildfire Rich. We'll be back in a minute.
Welcome to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, seen only here out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. Well, this is a whole moment for us, right?
Yeah.
We've got Tommy Rich in studio, and I don't think I'd ever think I'd see this day, dude. This is our honor. Bro, you are our introduction to non-WWE, or back then, WWF product.
Yes.
The former NWA champion.
Hey, well, I'm going to say something, too. You know, somebody say something about the Monty and the Pharaoh Show, man. It's nationwide, man. It's a pleasure to be here. I've heard about it. I've seen it on everything. I followed it on Facebook, everything, on the internet. And, hey, look at here. Tommy Wildfire Rich is here in live, living color.
Wildfire Rich,
Somebody
baby.
say something about Fighter.
We lost Road Warrior Animal
Yeah.
a couple of
Sure
weeks
did,
ago.
man. I
Wanna
had
share
some
any
of the
thoughts
first
on that?
matches with them guys. They come in from Minnesota, and I can't remember who my partner was, but I think we had one of their first TV matches with them, and they just beat the dog stink out of us. Of course, that's all they knew how to do. They were bouncers to begin with, and I guess I only found them up there or something. I don't know what the whole deal was. But anyway, they was there at TV and they was wrestling. And I tell you what, two great guys. And it's a big loss for the wrestling world, their families, and, and all the wrestling fans out there, because they were two-class guys. I mean, when I started, it was like I went to wrestling school, and I learned that there, and I wrestled in high school. But when you got in, especially me, I was like a kid in there with grown men, and so it was easy for them to whoop my if they wanted to. But I got in there and I had the heart and desire and the passion, and they all seen that. I mean, I get goosebumps still today because I met some of the greatest people in the world that if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't even be a Tommy Rich. They could have made me or break me just as quick, and because they took an interest in me, and give me an opportunity, and I went out there and busted my ass all the time, and they always seen that. So shoot, like Stan Hansen, he was a clubber too. I wrestled him.
Well, he couldn't see you. He didn't have, his
yeah, well, I think that was part of it. I think he just liked to hit you hard too.
Oh yeah. When you do win the world title, and we could see that coming, we could see that this was clearly one of the best and top faces of the generation. Right then we knew that. But you only held it for 4 days, and I saw recently, and I know that this may be old news to some, but that's fine, Harley Race stated in a shoot interview regarding that title switch that it was a way to ensure a power struggle in the Georgia territory that ended with the famous promoter Jim Barnett, coming out on top. And if I can quote Mike here, 4 days holding the title, what the what is the story behind why you only held the title for 4 days?
To be honest with you, I don't know, because I'm not into the politics of it. But I think a lot of it had to do, you look at what Flair did. Going town after, night after night, wrestling in Charlotte, then going to Tampa. Same thing Harley Race did. To me, Harley Race, the greatest world heavyweight champion there ever was, to me. Because he gave me an opportunity. Every time I worked with Harley, he gave me a chance to go out there and show the people, like, what I could do. Because Harley would wrestle to anybody's style. Rick would wrestle Rick's style. And everybody had to wrestle Rick's style, where Harley would adjust to whose style it was, And so I always appreciated that. And like I wrestled Ric Flair a lot. He was a great champion too. But I think the main thing is I was like 20, and I was young, smoking weed, drinking beer, and jumping rope, whatever else was out there, So I wasn't really what you would say would be dependable, and that was a position that you had to be dependable in.
Well, how does the conversation come about, Tommy? Does Barnett come up to you, or does Ole Anderson come up to you and say, "Hey, look, we're going to tag you with the NWA title, but you're going to lose it in a few days because Race is in town"? And like, how does it come about?
I think Harley had mostly it was Harley and Mr. Barnett, is what I think the deal was.
So did they come to you and say, "Hey, kid"?
They told me that night.
Oh, so you didn't even know?
No, I didn't know till that night.
Wow. And what were you like? Your pants? Like,
oh, yeah. Andre the Giant was there. He held me up over his head. I was a 20-year-old kid, and get one of the greatest things in professional wrestling. I was on top of the world. And, a lot of people say, "Hey, you didn't hold it for 4 days." But I held it for 4 days, so it is what it is, and I wouldn't take nothing for it. And if I'd have been on top of my game a little better, I might have held it longer. I'm not saying it's my fault. I'm not saying it's nobody's fault. But at that time, I just know it was a lot of responsibility, and I probably wasn't the most responsible person.
But they tell you that night, "Hey, you're going to become NWA champion." You're like, "Oh, my God, this is incredible." You win the belt. Do they tell you they're going to take it from you in 4 days, or the night of they tell you?
Not really. That didn't come up till a couple of days later.
Okay. So there was a possibility in your mind. You're like, "Holy cow, I'm going to have to travel to all these territories because I'm the new NWA champion." Or
yeah, a little bit. And like I said, I was at home in Georgia. I started in Tennessee. I just a old country boy, and got an opportunity, man, and it was. And at the time, it might have been bigger than I was, So, like I said, a couple of days after they let me know we was going to swap it back in Gainesville, Georgia. And you know, but I could live with it. It was going back to Harley, and to me, that's where it belonged anyway.
Tommy, I got to ask you, one of my, and he seems to be lost a little bit in the sands of time, and it kind of bothers me because I feel like this man was one of the greatest, intense, what's he going to do next kind of villains ever. Can you talk about Buzz Sawyer?
He was intense, all right.
I know. We'll get into his personality.
Is intense?
But man, on screen,
is intense a different word for high as all the time? Is that like a different like?
He might have had a little buzz. That's what made him dangerous.
Yeah.
Like the Road Warriors, you know, you just knew you was going to fight for your life, but you never knew what you was going to get with Buzz. He kind of like that box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, but you guys danced for like 2 years, didn't you?
I was the only one that would wrestle.
So wait a minute. So let me ask you, right?
God.
Professional wrestling, very physical sport. Got to take care of each other.
Okay.
Ready to go to the ring. Buzz is knocking down an 8-ball, and you're like, hey, I'm okay with this. We're going to have a good time. Or you're like, what am I doing?
We drew good
right now?
money. We drew good money. That's all,
Wow.
you know, back then, that's all that mattered, you know. I mean, you drew good money. But I told that Buzz, too. I mean, I told him, I said, you hurt me, and I said, I'm not going to work with you.
Okay.
You know, I mean, he knew. I'd see him take advantage of some of them kids, and I told him, I said, I can't work like that. I'm not going to work like that. And he never did. Now, he'd see Harley do a suplex on the floor, and I'd always be his guinea pig for that. And he hurt me a couple of times like that, but never, I don't think intentionally. I mean, did he hurt me? Just accidentally, a couple of times.
Was Buzz a bad guy, though? Like, we've heard stories, and was he just mean and bad with bad intentions?
I don't think Buzz had that many bad. Buzz was just Buzz, and if Buzz liked you, then you was good, and if he didn't like you, then he was gonna do what he could. Like if you and me didn't like each other, we probably wouldn't say nothing to each other. But Buzz might go out his way to make your day miserable if he didn't like you.
Okay.
You know, I mean, because he was always good to me, and if I seen he was in too bad a shape, I just went on about my business anyway. So I didn't have him, which I didn't travel with Buzz none. So I mean, I can't really tell you. I mean, on the road how he was. I mean, you know, he went his way and we went our way.
Well, who was your road friend back in those days?
Of course, Nick Patrick. Let's see, my cousin Johnny, Brad Armstrong. Rode a lot with Bob Armstrong when I first started. Of course, when Rick Martel, we traveled a lot together when he was in Georgia.
Okay.
And then Tito Santana, when he was Richard Blood, he come to Georgia, and we traveled a lot together because we teamed up together. And then I traveled a lot, and mostly with Tony Atlas, because we had such a good long run as the tag team champions. Right. Me and Ole had that kind of, you know, he loved to use me because I made money, but he didn't like me very much.
How about Ole's rep in general? Ole's not very well liked by most folks.
See, that's why he liked Buzz so good, because Buzz was not liked so much.
Oh, so that bonded
they got
them,
along
huh?
good.
That's
Yeah, they got
interesting.
along good. Only treated him out like his son.
So why didn't he like you? Because he had to pay you back for the.
No, just because he just thought I shouldn't be wrestling.
You.
Because I was so little when I went to Georgia, you know, I was like 210, 220, and everybody else was great big guys, you know, and he just thought, you know, I don't know what he thought. He just didn't think too much of me. But then when he saw I could draw money, then it was all good.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know.
You talk about the Freebirds, maybe especially Michael Hayes. How was your relationship with Michael Hayes?
Well, if it wasn't for Big Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts, Michael Hayes wouldn't have never even been a Freebird. All he could do was talk. I'm sorry if he's one of your heroes. I'm not a fan.
Not a hero.
Tell him the story.
Not a hero, but I did enjoy their work, right?
Yes.
Michael
they
definitely
could
had the
Big
mic
Terry
skill.
Gordy. Big Terry Gordy, if he hadn't went before his time, I mean, he was one of the great. I mean, he could work as good as anybody in his business, and had the psychology too. You know, but Big Terry started when he was 16. I mean, shoot, he looked like a man when he was 16.
So did you not get along with Michael though?
I got along with him. He just talks about stuff he don't know nothing about sometimes. You know, I mean, don't say nothing about something if you don't know what you're talking about. And he said a few things about me that he didn't know what he's talking about.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
Oh
Like,
no, just like the thing with Harley. He said it was he said that the referee wasn't supposed to count Harley out. You know, just different stuff.
just maybe a little jealousy, right?
Yeah. I think so. I think.
Well, think about it, right? He
didn't win the
you
world
forever
title.
are the NWA. You're an NWA champion, like
He's
you
not.
said. 4 days, 1 day, 20 hours doesn't matter, right? That's a
Right.
prestigious title.
Absolutely.
That Michael never got his hands on, right?
And Michael, I mean, it's like I said. I mean, he was a mouthpiece, and he could run that mouth good, because he could piss anybody off. That's for sure. Not even if he's trying to.
Did he get carried away with the rocks? Did he think he was a rock star behind the scenes? Was he obnoxious like the Axl Rose?
Oh
type? Like
yeah.
he was.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
And he loved that. I like to play with a little bit of. I did a little bit of everything, but they was in Tennessee boys. They like that old JD.
Yeah.
And that JD, he drinking thing. He's 10 foot tall, bulletproof sometime.
Right.
And
Running around half naked like David Lee Roth.
Yeah, exactly. Same.
Michael Hayes.
And I know what I got paid, and so I can make as much money being home in Georgia as I was being on the road.
Now you're talking my language, bro. You're rolling right into it. What does Tommy Rich make a match? What does Tommy Rich make a year back in 1983, 84?
Shoot, in Georgia, I was making, you'd make 15 to 25 a week. I wrestled Flair quite a bit, and he always, because he knew I like to party a lot. He said, so they'd tell us to go 30, and he'd take me 45 or 50,
That's a marathon.
But I didn't care because I could go.
Sure.
It didn't bother me. And then Harley would always wrestle me because it was just so smooth. And I enjoyed it, and I never got tired wrestling them because they knew what they were doing. It's kind of like dance. You got one that leads and one that follows. And I was blessed that I got the opportunity to follow, Blackjack Lanza, with Bobby Heenan, man, Baron Von Raschke. I mean, I'm talking about, they have characters today, but these guys was Ox Baker, looked like a Neanderthal. They didn't have to get that was them. That was their persona, man. That was their personality. I mean, Baron Von Raschke, he looked like a German, and Blackjack Lanza, Mulligan. I mean, they look like big old cowboys. I mean, that's and that's the way it was. Everybody. I mean, Stan Hansen, he was a big old cowboy.
And Tommy Rich was Tommy Rich. That was you.
Yeah, that was me. And that's. I think that's what the reason I got over so good, because they'd seen all these big guys, and they loved me, but they like to see me get my kicked a little bit and then fight back.
Sure.
And that's what I did. I never run out of gas, So it was, it was a good combo for me. And like I wrestled Kim Patera, another great one, that one, in the Olympics and everything else, and that took and showed me things. So I was very blessed to get into business and get the opportunity to wrestle the guys that I did, and I respect every one of them. We started drinking. I said, heck with it. I said, give me a vodka and grapefruit juice. And I took it and I just killed it. I told Andre, I said, look, ain't wasn't even nothing in there. He told that guy, he said, he had him pour another one, and they put about that much grapefruit in it, and I had to drink it. Oh. So anyway, a little later on in the night, I'm feeling really bad, so I hit that bathroom, and it don't have but one stall and then one of them little pee things, So somebody's in there, and I can't get in, so I just go to the little urinal thing, and I'm throwing up, man. All of a sudden, I hear somebody in that other one throwing up. All of a sudden, they open my door, and it's Rick Martel. Andre, they got us both sick. As you come in the door, there was like a bench here and a bench here, a little L shape. I was laying on one. Oh, no, so we got over that and come back out at the bar, and it got about 3 o'clock. And at 3, they start cooking breakfast. So Andre says, you want something to eat? And they started cooking that bacon there. I had to run to the bathroom again. Son, me and Rick both, I came out. Rick didn't get sick, but he went outside. He couldn't smell it either. He was laid on one bench. I was laid on the other. And Andre comes out. He picks Rick up in one arm, picks me up in the other one. And Rick had a 72 or 3 Thunderbird back then. And carried us to the car, and I didn't even know Andre could drive. I got in the back seat. Rick was in the front seat on the passenger side, and Andre drove us back. In my little suit thing, in the back seat, the window didn't open about that far, a little smoking window. And I got to having them heave. I spit up all over my dead girl jacket and everything. Next day I was going to take it to clean. I said, hell, I just throwed it in. It says $100 down the drain.
Oh my
you
God.
know, I just threw it away, yeah. But yeah, Andre, man, he was great. I had a van, and anytime he'd come in the back it had a table, and you take it down, there's a little horseshoe there. So we put cushions in it, and Andre'd sit down in there and throw his arms up there, and we'd take off and go wherever we needed to go, you know. Yeah, Andre was very good people. Wow. Mr. Barnett, he says, I want to keep the kid. And say anyway, and then like the first night I came to Atlanta from Tennessee, you know, I was just 18 and or 19. And I had to wrestle Abdul the Butcher. And Jerry Jarrett told me, he said, if you get there and things ain't going right, he said, call me and I'll get you back here. I went out there, wrestled Abdul. He beat me in 30 seconds, busted my head. Tony Atlas saved me. I thought, oh, God, I need to call him right now. I should have called him before I went out here. But anyway, I never called him and stuck it out. And then me and Tony clicked, and it just, you know, it was just Georgia was ready for some Tommy Rich. You know? We're in Wheeling, West Virginia.
All right.
When right next to the building is a Holiday Inn, and we stay there every time we come to town.
Perfect.
So, you know, Holiday Inn, they bars ain't never really hopping, no way. It's just for folks that stay there. Right. Anyway, I told them people that night, I said, if I fill this bar up tonight, do the boys get to drink for free? And they said, yeah, like laughing at me. And so when I went out to the ring, I was wrestling Buzz that night. I grabbed that microphone. I got in a little trouble over that too, but anyway, because Ola didn't tell me to say it. I said, Buzz, saw you. I'm about to kick tonight. We going next door to the bar at the Holiday Inn. Them people at the Holiday Inn was so mad. They had to call extra security. There were people. The bar was so full you couldn't serve nobody. The outside was just as full. And when we got out of the car, we had to take off running because the people was coming at us. I mean, you talk about like rock stars, and that's the only time I really. And I was kind of like scared. I've been been a bad guy and had the people pissed off, ready to jump on me. But just in people chasing, and we run down this hallway. Michael was somewhere, and he took off running too. And we was following him. He run down the doggone dead end. We was all standing there. Yeah.
How is it that a former NWA champion and the biggest face of Georgia Championship Wrestling never eventually wound up in the WWF? No Vince. What's the story?
That's a good question.
What's the story? Growing up with Vince, I always wondered.
Roddy Piper had me booked once or twice. Roddy Piper, another great one we lost too, by the way. Love you, brother, man. But Roddy had me booked there once or twice, and Ann Gunkel had opened up a territory in Georgia. And, you know, I'm a cornbread boy, you know.
New York just wasn't for you?
It wasn't really my cup of tea, and she gave me an opportunity and put me on a guarantee that was really good, and we wasn't working but about once a week, if that, and that lasted for a year. So then by the time that was over, you know, I was doing something else, and then I went to ECW, and so it just, the cards never really fell.
But did you ever get the call? Like, I know Roddy tried to book
No,
you,
Roddy, that was as far as it ever went. You know, Roddy tried to get me to come, and it just, they never called me, and I never called them.
Was New York, in the mind of a wrestler,
the Mecca?
The place, the Mecca. You had to be there because...
Oh, it was I mean, and I guess I'd be crazy to say no, but it's like I had a bunch of opportunities to go to Japan, and I just didn't. The money was great, you know, but I didn't like being gone, you know, so I didn't go near as much as a lot of guys did, you know. I went a couple of times for Baba, and the first time I went for 6 weeks, and there wasn't nobody on the trip that I knew.
Oy.
And so I was begging to go on then.
Yeah.
And then, but when it went to the like 3 and 4 week tours, it wasn't so bad. But I had just different things going on, you know, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. Well, Mr. Barnett, I mean, you figure when Mr. Barnett started 17, Ted Turner was cable before cable was cool.
Mm-hmm.
He had nothing on that cable station. So only thing he had was Braves baseball and Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Yep.
And the Braves, bless their heart, that's when they were just gosh off.
They were not so good.
You know, so 17, I'd say it was an image of Mr. Barnett. He liked the politics of it. I mean, the glitter, the glamour, and he took that Georgia Championship and made it a product that you could sell all over the country. He could have done what Vince done way before he did it. He could have went to all these towns because he had a TV that went everywhere. But because it was NWA and territories, he didn't want to step on no one's feet.
How was it like working with Paul Heyman? Did you ever have to experience that?
that was the greatest. That was the greatest job.
He
in the
paid
world.
you on time.
Yeah, well, Paul, I mean,
Wow,
he managed me and Austin Idol. You know, managed us. So I mean, I knew him, and then I think Tommy Dreamer may have had something to do with me coming in too.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, that was the greatest job in the world. I ain't never managed. I wish I was still doing that.
But I find it strange, right? You never wanted to leave the South, but now you're coming out Northeast to wrestle
He's
for
right,
an
you
up
see,
and
Tom.
coming.
Well, it was just for the weekends, though.
Okay.
They had the best deal in the world. You come out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and go home Monday.
There you go. Okay.
And I was making good money for 3 days a week. They paid me good, and so yeah, I loved working at ECW, and all the guys. I mean, they might have been a wild bunch, but they was all pretty cool, you know.
How'd you feel about being a full-blooded Italian when they approached you with that?
What you talking about, baby? I'm the big dog.
Hilarious.
You want to go get a slice after this is over?